And then messed up my stuff, and now you can't find the stuff because you done messed it up. I had it all sorted out. That's why when you let kids touch your toys, I don't go in their room and touch none of their stuff. But as soon as I say hand me a pot or a top or put something up, they just throw it anywhere. No, this is not the one. But it'll do because I need to cover it up. Now with this being a Sunday meal, I started cooking early because I had nothing to do, so I took my time out every day just to. I wasn't in a big rush. The macaroni is almost done. Okay, I haven't did it yet. Alright. Now I haven't turned my oven on yet. I was just double checking because I don't want to overcook my ribs. Because once they're already cooked and then you put them in the oven, you're just in there to let the flavor set in for the barbecue sauce and everything else go. But you don't want to keep cooking it since it's already done because it'll go from being soft and chewy to hard and crunchy. So once I started draining the water off of the macaroni is when I'll turn the oven on. Ooh, wrong side. Now I'm layering the seasonings in, so I'm only putting a little bit at a time. And then I let it cook. Now that I got the lard that's in there. Because cabbage does not take that long to cook at all. Depending on how soft you like it. Yeah, be careful with these electrical stoves, so if anything falls on it, try to get it up as soon as possible. I'd rather have a gas stove. If the lights go out, I can still cook. With these lights go out, I can't cook at all. Okay, I had to pause you for a few minutes because my macaroni got ready. Now it's different. People make theirs different ways. I've been making this way for a very, very, very long time. I have not gotten any complaints. I actually had a couple of people get into a fight over it. Then I got dinged. Oh my God, this is some really good macaroni cheese, like the old school macaroni cheese from back in the day from someone over the age of 85, and I felt so honored. So I never switched up or changed the recipe at all. So what I've done was incorporated the cheese packet and the butter. So it melted. My secret ingredient, I can't reach. That I use to make it cheesier. Because I was going to do just regular, but since I'm doing it, I might as well do it right. This is my gravy. Velveeta cheese packet. Normally I just take my knife and swipe across it, but that's me setting a bad example. I'm learning. I've done it in front of my kids for years, but they're so terrified of touching my chef knives. So I never worried about them actually repeating it at no one's home. So, but since other people are watching, let's stay on our P's and Q's. And no, I don't have my chef jacket on today. I'm gonna have to take a day off. And I'm trying to not wear it as much on camera until I get the ones I ordered in with my name on it to make it official. Now, I do not use my spaghetti ladle to stir up the macaroni and cheese because it's hard to clean the cheese out after you use it. So I suggest you just use it for stirring the pasta up while it's in the water. That's it. Now that we got all the cheese incorporated, see how it looks cheesier now? It's a little more cheesier. Now that we have it all incorporated, we're going to let it cool down. Now, the reason for that is if you add a cold egg to a hot anything, no matter if the bowl was plastic or not, anything hot you add a cold egg to is going to cook. We don't want to put an egg in there so it'll cook. We want to put an egg in there so it'll bring it together and separate it at the same time. So we have to let the macaroni cool completely down. All the way down. I suggest you guys get plastic bowls when you're doing macaroni because metal bowls heat up. So it's going to take a little longer for my macaroni to cool down than normal because I didn't bring my metal bowls I didn't unpack them yet. So these are my first ones. So the metal ones is what I'm using. But I'm advising you, they're good, the metal ones, but when you're doing macaroni and spaghetti, if you want them to cool down faster, do not put them in a metal bowl. Use a plastic bowl. So we're going to let it sit until it cools down. Okay, now that our macaroni has cooled down, now it's certain stuff that I do that I have explained in other videos that I don't explain in every video. I have a garbage bowl on my table. Because you do not want an open trash receptacle, a trash can, or anything with garbage in it near anything that has food to do with it. So I get a nice little bowl and I put the trash in the bowl. So this is me adding the egg to it. Now sometimes you do make a mistake and add it when it's still a little hot. Keep moving it around and getting the more you move it around like this, you get more air into it. It cools it down for you so you don't have to worry about the egg cooking in it. So keep stirring it around. If you add it too soon, well, you know not to add it directly after you put it in the bowl because it will definitely cook then. Okay. I miss my old school can openers because it came with everything on it. But once the little turning part stops using it, people throw it away. But this part still works. So I keep it for this part. That's the beer bottle opener. And this is the one with the little triangle holes in it. Now, it took me, oh my God, years. Once people started getting older, people started moving away. I didn't have as many people to feed at my house because I was buying everything in bulk. I was cooking everything for a family of 15 to 20 people. So it took me a really long time to figure out how to cut down to size for just me and my 4 girls. So I had to figure this out, and it took me a lot of time to actually, I put in the work and the math. So now I can do one thing of macaroni and cheese without having a whole bunch left over like I was going to have company. Now I am turning the oven on 325 now that I already got ready for the, now I feel like I'll be adding this whole can because what you don't want to do is not add enough of the milk. Because you want it to be as wet as possible because it will dry out. So I'm adding this whole can. So you want it to be this wet. And then I layer it. So I put macaroni in the bottom. Then I add the cheese. Now these bowls, just like the glass bowls I have, I bought these for when I first started culinary school. My kids kept making a mistake and dropping them. I didn't get upset because they were for $4, but I got these for $4. I also wound up getting these for $4 from Dollar Tree. And the reason I got so many is I was using them for school. We have to have these for school because you have to prep everything. It's called mise en place. It's French. Mise en place. That means everything. You have to have everything ready. Everything has to. It's like when you go to the grocery store, you're not just going there because you bored and you want to just buy stuff. You add a milk, you add a bread, so you make a list. So mise en place is what we do to check. Like if I'm gonna do a recipe, I want to make sure I got everything for that recipe. I want to make sure I got enough. So I put it in these different bowls. I weigh it out. I use the teaspoon, the tablespoon, everything, and I put it in the different little bowls. It got to the point where one recipe I had to use about 20 of these because how much different spices that I had to use. So I had to get about 20 of these. So it was a mixture of these bowls and my glass bowls filled up a whole table. But I got it done. But to make sure, it's some things you can't substitute and some things you can't take a shortcut on. Like you can forget to put the egg in here. It's not going to make a huge difference. It's not. But you can't forget to put the cheese. Without the cheese, it's not macaroni and cheese. So it's some things you can't just substitute and you can't just leave out. The one thing I like about having a spatula for when you do this, you get as much of the cheese that's in the bowl out of the bowl. And they sell all this stuff for beginners. I still buy it, and I've been doing this for going on 20 years, if not longer. The Goodwill was the first place I went to look for when I wanted to get some good pots and pans. You can cook on a budget. Whether it's the food, whether it's the utensils, you can always cook on a budget. Don't let anybody tell you got to pay so much for this and so much for that. No, we can make it look expensive. We don't actually have to be. And then that week's worth of food, I think I spent altogether for the 7 days. Because we're doing new recipes and stuff too, on top of that, this is not a normal week of food for me. I normally would spend for a week of food plus the leftovers and what I can do with the leftovers and everything, about $100. And it's 4 of us here, plus the leftovers. So about $150 is what I spent today on all that food. Because I had lobster tails and everything. That's what made it more. I did lobster tails and I bought prawns. Because I want to do some, I want to deep fry them for you. I'll be doing that. Then I want our new recipe Wednesday. We're going to be doing fufu. I've never had it. I've never made it. But we're doing it Wednesday. So I'm putting this in the oven. So now that the oven is preheated, and it didn't take that long to preheat. For those of you who did not see it first, I like to put my main rack in the middle. So it's 2 shelves down and 2 shelves up. I like it in the middle. Now what we gotta do is let it bake. The sweet potatoes are done. And so is the cabbage. Now that's the water we said it was going to produce in the bottom. That's the water. That's why he didn't want you to add too much. Okay. Now you can take it out here if you're ready to eat. It's nice and bubbly. That's done. Or if you want it to be a little darker, a little more crisper, you can leave it in a little longer. But for me, I like a golden brown deliciousness, and that's what this is. Now I don't have any special plating that I do for the ribs and macaroni. In order to plate the macaroni up, it has to be cooled down all the way to put in like a cute little mold. So I'm not going to be plating it today. That's hot. Now for everything that you ever cook in the oven, what you want to do is make sure you let it cool off first. If you have to cut into it or you have to slice it or anything, you let it cool out first. If you cut into it right now while it's still cooking, all the juices, air would hit it. Air would hit it. And as you cutting it and moving it, it'll cool it out too fast and it'll go dry on you. So we want to sit this here and let it settle. Let it stop cooking for about 7 minutes. At the most 10, but 7 minutes is what I do. And then I come and I cut it. It's still going to be nice. It's still going to be hot, but it's going to be juicier. Because once you cut it, and then now you got an opening, all the juices will flow out. That's for any type of meats, any type of like casseroles or anything. You let it sit first, and then you cut it. Lasagnas, all of it. You let it sit first, and then you cut it. And this is our meal. Sweet potatoes, cabbage, beef ribs, macaroni and cheese. Now normally I would put them in a cute little bowl, put it on the table, and let's eat. I'm not doing it today because I'm tired. But until next time, and hopefully I can do it for the new recipe for Wednesday. Stay tuned to our next episode when it comes down to cooking. Let's do it. Stay cute. Keep it short, but keep it cooking.